Good evening, everyone. So nice to see you all. I am Stephen George. I'm president here at Louisville Public Media. It's so nice to have you all with us tonight. As part of my job, I was thinking about what I was going to say tonight. And as part of my job, I have to take a long view, right? Which is not easy or natural for me because I like things in the moment. I like to be fast, I like to be quick, urgent. And I was thinking about Hey, real quick, can we add some drama to these remarks? Thank you.
It's the hurry up music.
I think I got played off. I was thinking about when I started here in 2015 and how big our newsroom was then and how different our newsroom was then. And it was less than half the size it is today, which is pretty incredible. We made that intro video so you could get a sense of all of the reporters and editors and hosts and producers and people who go into making the news here at WFPL and KYCR every single day. It's an incredible operation, and over the last several years, I think we've gone from something that's focused more on kind of enterprise or playing off the news to a daily news source for this community. That's really different, and it's really rare. This man here, Jason Alcorn from the American Journalism Project, who's going to talk next, will talk a little bit about how rare it is. But I just want to say that here in this community, we have something special. I am born and raised here. I grew up reading the Courier Journal. I grew up listening to HAS and eventually FPL. And I've worked at a few different media jobs here and then a few different cities across the country. And what we have here is different. There are not very many places in America right now where you can grow a newsroom to cover a mid-sized city to the size that we have. And that's because of your support. It's because of this city's support. It's because there's an expectation here that journalism should be smart and thorough and careful and independent and meaningful. And our staff here is just doing an incredible job of that every single day. So I want to give a shout out to the staff. So many of them are here tonight. Hopefully you've gotten to mingle with them. We've got reporters here, we've got editors, we've got hosts, we've got our development staff, we've got our membership staff. We've got all the people who make this operation run every single day. It's special here. It really is. It's different here. And that's because of the people who are here, and that's because of your support. So this morning I started the day at a Better Business Bureau breakfast to accept an award for workplace ethics. And I got to give a little bit of a speech. It was like 45 seconds long. They didn't play me off, guys. But one of the things I said was, they had this big banner behind you where you're standing, and it was like, it said ethics, transparency, credibility, integrity, right? And those are not words that people, I think, typically associate with the American news media right now. Certainly, it's a harder sell now to gain people's trust than it ever has been in my lifetime working in journalism. And so the people here tonight who are out there reporting every day, who are out there editing every day, who are making our talk show every day and every week, they have a hard job, and they're doing it so damn well. So kudos to them, kudos to all of you, and thank you so much for your support. You make this happen. Really, it is a special opportunity we have here in Louisville to keep growing. So with that, I'm happy to introduce my friend Jason Alcorn from the American Journalism Project. And so what we're here celebrating tonight is our newsroom expansion, right? Not a physical expansion. We've added 6 journalists here in the past year. We've also added 3 people to our business side operation, which is going to help us sustain all these journalists we have now. We have a 29-person newsroom now. And so that's, I think, second largest in the city, just saying. But we need we need to continue growing our business side operation along with that so we can make sure that we're sustainable well into the future. Coming back to the first thing I said, got to think about the long view, got to think about the long term. We are, all of us who work here, temporary stewards of an amazing service that was established well before us and will outlast us for many, many years here in this city. So Jason and his team at the American Journalism Project believed in us, and they invested in us. And I'm so happy that you're here with us tonight. So Jason?
I think I could more or less just come up and say, yes, you're different. And that's kind of like the entire point here. But that's really why we invested and why I'm here. This is the end of a long trip for me. It's like my first travel really since the pandemic. So I realized my stamina to be on the road and sleeping in hotels for like 5 nights straight is a little low. I wrote out some of my notes, but that's why those are here. I will try not to read too much. It's exciting to be here with all of you tonight. As I was coming over this way, I looked back through my email, and on, I think it was February 26, 2019 is when Stephen sent me an email. It was the day that we launched the American Journalism Project. I think more relevant to Stephen's interest, it was the day that we announced a $50 million fund for local news. And in all of the qualities that you want in a good leader to hustle and get in front of the funder, he reached out right away and asked if he could talk. 3 years later, we're here today. And I think I come with both a sense of gratitude for all the work that this team has done, all of you who are supporting this work, but also kind of an abiding sense of urgency because the crisis in local news is not getting better yet, although there's bright spots like Louisville Public Media. Even in communities with legacy papers like you have here, those papers have been, the core of those papers has been so hollowed out that they are not able to provide the kind of civic reporting that all of us rely on. And the consequences of this decline are dire. I mean, you know all of this, but I think it's helpful and important to say here together what that is. You know, there's a decline in civic participation. We know this. When there's no local news or less local news, there's a decline in civic participation. There's a decline in political engagement. There are increases in government malfeasance. There's increases in polarization. So there's a Yale historian, Timothy Snyder, who wrote the book on tyranny, and he calls this the essential problem of our republic. The crisis in local news is the essential problem of our republic, and that's something that we really, really believe in, and I know all of you do too. So back to Stephen's February 26th email. Of course, it was good for him to do. Of course, we took the call. We talked with him, of course, and frustratingly, as many funders do, we didn't say yes the first time he asked us for money. But, you know, the reason was not him, the reason was not this team, the reason was not this work. For us, we didn't know truly if and how public media had a role to play in our vision for rebuilding local news across the United States. We've made 32 grants to nonprofit local news organizations all across the country right now. 30 of those are to digital, independent, nonprofit news. Just 2 are to public media. And so what changed? And Stephen's persuasive. You know all of that. He's persuaded all of you of something at some point. But all of you, whether you know it or not, were really persuasive too, because Louisville Public Media, Stephen, Allen, his team, all of you, the board, went to the community and said, we have this big, bold, probably crazy, but super important idea about what Louisville Public Media can be and the kind of newsroom that this community needs now and into the future. And you all said yes. You shared your ideas, you shared your support. The outcome has been, you know, everything that Stephen talked about. The newsroom has doubled, right? You've don't quote me on the numbers, quote him on the numbers. But you're going to the newsroom, you have a city desk, you have the organization's values of diversity and equity and inclusion that are not just a reporter off to the side covering that topic occasionally over there, but something that is core to the mission and core to the work of every single reporter in this newsroom and every single person in this organization. And we saw all of you do that, and we said we think that there's a role for us here. We think that this is something that's important for us to be involved in, that there's a model here that if we are able to come in and support this incredibly important work, that not only will you all have a stronger newsroom for Louisville, but you will be able to kind of be leading the way for communities across the country that are trying to do this same thing. So, we're delighted, as Stephen said, to be able to come in and fund the three roles. I got to meet Catherine and Markel and Kara in person, which is just like the best thing ever as a funder to come in and meet the people who we've been able to provide some of the support for their salaries and their roles, and they're just, I can tell you, they're wonderful. They're doing an extremely great job. It's these roles, this business team that Ellen and Stephen are building out, along with your support, that are going to sustain this newsroom expansion that we're here tonight to celebrate. So I'll wrap up with this thought. I like the clock. I'm not usually in rooms where there's a clock on the wall by the second. So I keep. Radio, man. I've been in studios enough that my one eye continues to be over there. But this is my final thought. We started the American Journalism Project to rebuild local news across the country. And we started with two insights. One is that we needed to invest in the revenue and operations capacity of nonprofit local newsrooms. And that if we were able to do that, if we were able to help build those teams, those are the ones that are responsible for the continued growth of the newsroom, which is why this really, really matters, which is why it's the newsrooms that impact the community. And two, we need to unlock a new level of nonprofit and local philanthropy for local news. And, except for this very small slice of philanthropy over the years, which has gone to support public media, local news has not had a place in U.S. philanthropy until now. It has not been needed until now. The market had been able to provide the kind of journalism that we as communities rely on and need to be informed, to participate, to vote in mayoral primaries, to understand what's happening, to understand who's representing us, to understand who we are and who this place is what this place is where we live. Now, philanthropy is needed, and it's even more exciting. It's powerful. Philanthropy can do so much in this moment for local news. I started this week in Chicago, where for the first time we gathered together all 32 of our grantees, 31. Ellen wasn't able to make it. I know that she's here, wishing that she could be here. But we gathered all of our grantees together for the first time, and I was able to share with them something of what we've accomplished together in the last 2 years, what they've accomplished, what you all have accomplished here. And what that looks like is that, over the last 2 years, our average grantee has grown by 70% in their first year with the American Journalism Project. Last year, $1 in $5 that went to support nonprofit local news went to the organizations in our portfolio. And that growth, that investment, represents $70 million in new resources available for local news across the country over the next 5 years, which, to put it in perspective, the total budget of Louisville Public Media, something like $7-ish million. So imagine 10 times everything that Louisville Public Media is doing in a year from scratch being built in communities across the country over the next 5 years. That is remarkable. That the impact that will have on communities, on people, on places is just so terrifically exciting, and all of you are the ones who are coming along with us and making this possible. And over drinks in Chicago, on a bus tour of Bronzeville in the south side of Chicago, where we drove past kind of legendary investigative journalist Ida B. Wells' home when she lived in Chicago. In the roundtable discussions that we had with people, our grantees, the ones who are leading organizations who are bringing $1 in every $5, remember, to local nonprofit news across the country, they talked to me and they said, Stephen, Louisville Public Media, this newsroom, Louisville, this community, all of you are the ones that they look to. They're saying this station is doing things that we want to do. We want to understand how to do that. We want to understand how we can be a daily newsroom for our place, for our community, in the way that Louisville Public Media is for Louisville and for the people who live here. So you're doing something different. Know that. As we look across the country, we see that we are just beyond privileged to be able to be here to support this. It is so much fun to be here. Thank you for your support for this station, for this organization, for the vision. Thank you for joining us in this movement for local news. Thank you for joining us in what ultimately we believe will help really truly sustain our democracy. So that's my piece. So nice to meet all of you. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for all that you've done for this station.
Thanks again for taking my call. Last thing I'll say, just again, let me express my gratitude to all of you. You are all of you are a part of this. It is a movement that we're a part of, and it is so valuable to hear from you, to set the kind of national stage and see what piece of the puzzle we are, because I think it's easy to just be in our own communities and to forget the role that we can play beyond here as well. So for tonight, we're finished, but we're not done. We're going to keep rolling. We've got a lot of momentum here at Louisville Public Media, and we got a lot of work to do in this city. So thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.